Well, I will tell you, I will make a little bit of a confession. I arrived yesterday afternoon for the afternoon Mass. I got here a little early, maybe it was 3:15 or so, and I parked up on top of the hill there in front of the church, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and what did I do? I waited. And nobody was coming to church. And I thought, oh my word, these Catholics, they come so late. And then I said, I'll just go inside. And I went up to the door, and the door was locked. And I said, oh my gosh, these Catholics really know how to do evangelization. Lock the doors, take no prisoners. So I walked around a little bit, and I looked down into the valley here, and I said, look, there's a brand new Baptist church. I said, oh, those Baptists certainly know how to build them. I think I'll just go down and look at that. And guess what I found when I got down here? I got St. John Paul II Church down here. And boy, is it beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful churches, new churches that I've been in a long time. Y'all did good. You did real good. And they were all down here, and they were like, where in the heck is that priest? Lord have mercy. It's good to see all of you. I like the fan shape. And then we have, of course, this corner over here. Are y'all the bad folks that, what can you do? I am glad to be with you, however. I'm glad to be anywhere except St. Mindred. It's good. I don't know if you were watching the news at all or listening or reading the news last week on the internets. On Thursday, there was a very interesting story, and I thought, oh, this is very interesting. It was a story about Ash Wednesday. And in the story, it's claimed that Ash Wednesday is the Catholic Church's most attended liturgy and worship service. In other words, more people go to church on Ash Wednesday than any other time in the year, even more than Easter and Christmas. Ash Wednesday is the day, the beginning of Lent. It's the day that everybody goes. And I thought about that for a little while, and I thought that makes sense if you think about it. If you think about it, it makes sense. Ooh, Cocoa Pebbles. Oh, Fruity Pebbles. I'll just take these. I'm kind of poor. Anyway, it makes sense. I get distracted easily. It makes sense because two things on Ash Wednesday. One, you get to take something away with you, right? In other words, you get a little prize. It's not much. I mean, it's ashes on your head, but it's not much. But, then everybody's like all week long are like, oh, look, I got ashes on my head. And all day long, people are like, oh, what do you have that on your head? You got something dirty on your head. You're like, no, I have ashes on my head because I went to church this morning. At St. Mindred, we put oil in the ashes. Yes, you got it. And you put it on their heads, and two things can happen. One, it stays on all day. You can't get rid of it. Sometimes 2 or 3 days. Or you can set it on fire, which makes a really good penitential day. People like their ashes. They want to show their ashes off. They take their ashes everywhere. And second of all, it's a great day because we can come up with some penance. And Catholics love penance. They love to, it's like, oh, I love penance. And boy, they come up with some stuff too. What am I going to do for Lent? What am I going to do for Lent? What am I going to do for Lent? What's the band doing for Lent? I don't know. And of course, I work with seminarians, and these boys, they're very intent upon, being suffering. They love to suffer. I said, oh Lord, if you want to suffer, Junior, just look in the mirror. But They love to suffer, so they're not going to eat at all during Lent. They're going to eat fast for 40 days and 40 nights. They're not going to eat at all, or they're going to give up drinking for Lent. And I'm like, please don't give up drinking for Lent. Your drinking is the only thing that makes us able to deal with you. You need to drink more during Lent. In fact, pass out for 40 days and 40 nights. We'll be happy. And people are other people, because, we don't let the boys smoke the cigarettes, I'll tell you, much less anything else, you know what I'm saying? But, people are going to give up smoking for Lent, because that's good. And that's not good either, because then the people around you get to suffer, because you're how you are. It starts off very heroic. We're going to pray. We're going to give away our alms, Although, let me say this. I'm going to say this in all seriousness. Last year, during Lent, our boys came up with some almsgiving stuff, right? They're going to be almsgiving. They always come up with something. And last year, they came up with almsgiving, where they were going to take up money among themselves to give to a parish in Ukraine. Remember, last year, this was just getting going. And I thought, well, that's good. The boys have done well. They had a box that they put in the chapel, and you could put your money in it. And I thought, that'll be great. If they get $500, I'll be very proud of them. Do you know that those seminarians, those 125 seminarians, collected in that box $36,000? Now, $35,000 was given by one person, but no. I thought, what? First of all, where have you been with this cash? And second of all, what a proud papa I am today. $36,000. That's just amazing. Anyway, fasting, prayer, almsgiving, it starts out wonderfully. And, but then about, I don't know, today, tomorrow, it kind of all falls apart, doesn't it? It's going to fall apart. I started out, the people that steal money from their own rice bowls is amazing to me. You put the money in the rice bowl, and then, I need a little money. I'll put an IOU in the rice bowl. And then you keep doing that, and by the end of Lent, you owe so much money to the rice bowl that you have to second mortgage your house. Lent can be a very silly time, but I wish that we could get back to kind of an original idea about Lent and get away from all this heroic stuff and all of this, I'm going to do this and give it up and give up all of this stuff, no matter what it is. And then on Easter Sunday, you're just back to your normal self, right? I wish that we could get this, which was what the original idea of Lent was back in the early church, that in the 40 days we could concentrate on one thing, and that by the time we get to Easter, we will have been converted. We would have been changed. We would have become better in just a little tiny way. We would pray more, or we would give up more, or we would offer more. All of those things, just a little bit. But that once Easter came, we were that forever. We were just going to be that way forever. It's not for Lent, it's for life. It's what I always say to the seminarians, and they're like, they don't know. I wish we could think about that. And whatever you're doing, I'm sure it's a wonderful thing. But will it be permanent? Will it last forever? And if we can get to that, then we will have had a very successful Lent. Because our goal in Lent, and this is just something to think about for yourselves, am I a better Christian? Am I a better Catholic this year than I was last year? Am I growing? Am I changing? Am I converting? Even the sinful corner. Okay. Now that's the homily. I'm not done though. Hold on. I don't like this thing. I think I'm Britney Spears or something. I don't know. It's terrible. I'm here to talk just a few minutes about St. Meinrad. How many people have ever been to St. Meinrad? Most of you. If you haven't, please come. We would love to host you at any time. St. Meinrad is a wonderful place, a Benedictine monastery, here I am, but also a seminary that prepares all of your priests for the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. They're all studying there right now. We have 126 seminarians, about 12, 13 that are studying for the Archdiocese. It's a wonderful place. Last week, Archbishop Thompson was there. It's just a place of real preparation and prayer for those priests. 25 other dioceses or so that we work with, preparing priests for them. And we've been doing that now for over 150 years. We've been preparing priests for service in the church around the world. We also prepare the deacons. All of the deacons that are in the Archdiocese are from St. Meinrad. We have prepared them for their service, and they're doing a great job. Lay ministers also, we prepare all of them, and they're doing a great job. We have a program for priests in continuing formation, including a program for priests getting ready to retire. We have a program for youth, for high school youth, called One Bread, One Cup. Every summer, they come to St. Meinrad. There are hundreds of them. I think over the course of the summer, we have over 1,000 people in the high school youth program. I leave during that time. The scent of Clearasil just is overwhelming at that point. These programs change lives. You know, it's interesting when you look at that One Bread, One Cup program, that summer program for youth, the number of vocations that have come out of that program, or the number of young people who have remained attached to the church after they went to college and moved on. You know, all of these things make St. Meinrad a place, a very valuable place, especially for this local church in southern Indiana. So, here's the thing. Now listen to this part. You forget all the other. Listen to this part. So, next week or so, you are going to get in the mail a letter from someone at St. Meinrad. Don't throw that thing away. You open up that letter. And in that letter, it's going to say all the things I just said. Oh, St. Meinrad is wonderful. St. Meinrad is this. St. Meinrad is that. It's wonderful. You're going to love it. You've heard that already. You don't need to know that. What you need is to get that envelope out. And you know what comes next. You're going to put some money in that envelope. You're going to put money in the envelope. And you're going to seal it up. And you're going to put a stamp on it, even though it says you don't need to put a stamp on it. You're going to do that because you're not cheap. And you're going to send it back to St. Meinrad. And everybody in this church is going to do that. And I'm going to give you a deal. This is called Let's Make a Deal. If everybody in this church will put $1 in the envelope, it's just $1. 4 quarters will do. Do not put 100 pennies. That's just being a jerk. If everybody in this church will put $1 in the envelope and seal it up and put a stamp on it and send it back, I will be a hero at home. They will say, Father Dennis, you were amazing. And in Sellersburg, whatever they call that parish now, in Sellersburg, everybody gave $1. And now we love you. That's how I get affirmation. Here's the deal, though. If everybody in the church puts in $2, it's not that much. If everybody in the church, including the choir sitting in the back, puts in $2 and sends it back, I'll never set foot in this parish again.